Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today for episode 107, and we are the Spot Network. And I'm one of your hosts, Diamond Grant. I got my brother in the building, DJ Zenas, and I have my other brother, Ramon Murphy. And today we're going to talk about a great episode. 2026 is around the corner. And I know a lot of us, we want to like make some adjustment. We want to do things a little differently. And today's episode is room for improvement. What are some areas in your life that you can improve? What are some areas in your life that you can upgrade? And that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. So, fellas, man, how y'all doing today? How y'all feeling?
Life is good, man.
I
Life is
Can't
good,
complain,
man.
man. Can't complain, man. Swimming in the ocean of paradise, baby.
love it. I love it, man. I know 2026 is around the corner. Like the episode, like Ramon and I briefly was just chatting about just overall 2025 things we accomplished this year and going to 2026. And we were just talking about what are some things that we can do different, And
Mhm.
he asked me this question. He was like, DG, like, what do you think on the scale from like, is it 0 to 100? How much effort you put into 2025? And I would be honest, man, I was like, bro, like I could definitely improve because I would say I give 2025 like a 65 to 70% effort. Like part of me, like even though I did accomplish a lot this year, but like I felt like I didn't give my all. I feel like I played myself a little bit in the sense that part of me realized I could have done more, bro. And that's kind of like going to 2026. That's where I want to be, man. I just want to be able to like lock in and just go all in to accomplish those goals and just feel like within that I did everything I was supposed to do. Like how you guys feel like about this year when it comes to the overall performance? Like how would you rate yourself? Like
Another question there. Um,
Hmm.
I feel personally, I feel like I did have a great year. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And it's like like I did feel like I was like certain things in my life that I necessarily didn't even see for myself, but it was like panning out like that in a dope
right,
way. You know what I'm saying? But I honestly think, if I'm being completely honest, I think I grinded a little bit harder 2024 than
right,
2025.
right,
Well, I
right,
don't necessarily know why that is, but then 2025 is like I seen some of
right.
uh, the benefits of the year
Bro,
before. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? I seen some of the benefits from the year before. So um, and it might not even be like I grinded harder, but just like this year, it was, I guess, less motion and more like paperwork type of things, more type of reading, kind of just like a different type of year. You know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of put to specifics, but I feel like I did grind, but there was a bunch of room for improvement. You know what I mean? A bunch of it, bunch of more work that I could have put in. Um, I kicked it a little bit this year.
right,
I'm not usually a kick it type of person, but I kicked it a little
right.
bit this year. So, um, which is nothing wrong with that. But I would say I would probably rank myself, honestly, like at a full potential. I'd
Yeah,
probably say like a 60.
yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
you.
like 60.
Yeah.
60. Yeah.
And I just want to add to viewers watching this, man. Like we accomplished a lot this year. Like, and we were talking about we put in 60% effort. As we go through the episode, we're gonna talk about some of our accomplishment, but I just want to like, just make that clear. Oh, the effort we're talking about is 60%. Yeah, what
Mhm.
about what about you, Z?
um, I feel like 2025 has been uh a pretty solid year overall.
Right,
Definitely accomplished some things. There's definitely some things I could have improved upon. I'd say overall, I'm gonna just keep things short and simple. I'd give myself like a 48, 49 for the year.
yeah,
Like I felt like there definitely were some things that were accomplished. I definitely feel like I could have improved upon and will improve upon my social media. I feel like social media like just kind of became very just yeah, non-existent. I think just at times, and I definitely haven't been as active on my social media as much as I could have been. I did move, which is dope. Like obviously, moved to a new city, drove across the country, which is fun. Um, uh, towards the latter part of the year, no, starting to get back into like the fitness grind and whatnot, but still can take that up a notch and whatnot, you know. But I mean, overall, like I feel like it was a decent year, you know, but so much room for improvement, so much opportunity. Just recognizing that I don't know if there will ever be a year that I'm just like, oh yeah, I hit 100, right? You know, like I don't know if there will ever be, if that year exists, right, or if that opportunity. When I know I just gave it my all, maybe, I don't know, right? You know, but I know there's just always room for improvement at the end of the day.
Right.
Story short.
All right. So Ramon, go ahead, bro.
I was going to just a follow up for y'all on that same thing. So if we say 65, 60, I might even go a little bit lower, 58 maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I probably say around
40, 48. We might have been asking the same question with this, but like, why do y'all think that number was? It's like none of us wanted to come into the year and hit 65, 48, and 58. Why do y'all think that was?
I would say, bro, I would say y'all just speak for me and for us in the sense, like I would just say we all kind of like overachiever in a sense, you know, like things that we accomplished this year, other people reflected on their life. I probably would have say like an 85 to 90%. You know, they were like, oh yeah, but for us, we believe that. For me, like I know, even though I did a lot, but I could have done more. I could have better managed my time. I could have been more focused, you know, because a lot of times I was distracted. Like one of my goals was to get my CFA license. Yeah, I was basically working all that. But if I would have structured my time better, I would have been in a good position to take my exam, you know. But I feel like just overall procrastination a little bit, and just a lot of things, juggling a lot of things in that, being strategic overall, what exactly I wanted this year made it a little bit harder for us. And also said to say, bro, like, yeah, we accomplished a lot, you know. And like I said, the average person right now will be like, damn, bro, like 65, you guys did a lot. But just knowing that what we are capable of doing, like Z always say this, bro, like sometimes when you think about your dream, you know where you want to be and the things that you can potentially accomplish. You're like, man, what I'm doing right now is not it. So like we've been a little bit, I would say we're being a little bit hard on ourselves right now. You know, but I feel like who we are, in order for us to reach to that next level, we have to be, you know, we have to be this hard on ourselves in order for us to grow and not just accept, you know, just comfort.
Yeah. I think it's important to just be real with yourself, right? You know, I don't think you necessarily like, it's not like we're attacking ourselves like, oh, like you're a piece of shit because you had a 48 year, you know, type of year. like I'm not sitting in the mirror like looking at myself like you are a pathetic piece of shit. You ain't no good. Like, nah, like that. I'm not like that at all. It's just I recognize that there's a lot that was accomplished, but there's still so much more to be done, right? You know, it's like we didn't come this far just to come this far, right? You know, and I think when you recognize that, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit more harsh on yourself and just ultimately expecting yourself or holding yourself to a higher standard, right? Because when you want greatness, average just isn't going to cut it, right? You know, and I feel like for myself personally, I felt like this was a more average year, you know, for myself. Like, you know, like you said, DG, I think we typically strive for more than the average person. But I felt like this was just more of like an average year in my book, like, right. And there's still a lot that we did. We had our first remote escapes trip, you know, right? Like we went overseas and did a bunch of things. But still, you know, like there's just room for improvement. And like I said, I don't know if there will ever be a perfect moment, a perfect year, you know, perfect just doesn't exist, but also perfection isn't something that we're chasing. We're just we're just in pursuit of greatness and just holding ourselves to the standard that we know we're capable of. And that's specifically 100 M's.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. There's something I'm thinking about as we're talking through this, right? And we were talking about this a little bit off air, Z, so I want you to touch on this at certain points too, but we're all kind of in this in between stage of you know, the things that we actually want to do in life and also working a corporate job, right? We all three are in those same positions, right? You know what I mean? A lot of people wouldn't even be able to balance that, but we're balancing those. And as I'm hearing y'all talking, I'm asking myself why I don't feel like I went, you know, higher than my 58 that quote myself this year. Sometimes it's a piece of that is having a corporate job and really wanting to do other things, right? Because if I feel like if in my corporate job I hit 100% of the things, but then in my personal goals I hit like 50%, I would still feel probably like I was closer to 50%.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So like to be honest, at some point that corporate thing might be the thing that's kind of holding you back. How do y'all feel about that?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. At least in my life, right? You know, I think that everyone functions differently. You know, I think we talk about it all the time, and I think a lot of people like, oh, like balance. You know, you just have to find balance, and I feel like for a long time we have done our best at trying to figure out what that balances look like in our lives to mostly like success. You know, right? But I think the older that we get, the more that we realize. I mean, we were just having this conversation over the weekend, right? I think the older we get, the less tolerant we get, right? And I'm just like, it's hard to tolerate things that I just know don't serve me anymore, right? You know, I just know that all this is serving is the purpose of really just paying my bills. And granted, that is a service, right? You know, I do appreciate that, but I know that at the end of the day, I believe in myself. I'm not scared to bet on myself. You know, I know what I'm capable of. I know what we're capable of. And at some point, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off, man. You know, and I really feel like I'm at that stage in my life where it's just like, look, been doing this for a long time. I've had some success and you know, what that's looked like. And I'm not to discredit any of that. I'm very proud of myself. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of a lot of the things that are just in motion. But I know that in order to, I think we're at a really good level right now, like all of us, right? But that great level, that's still another ascent, right? You know, like, and so in order to get to that place, I think it's just going to require certain things that we've maybe potentially never done. And maybe that just means severing that tie, right? You know, like I think ultimately, like I said, ripping the Band-Aid off and being in this weird in-between of just like, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to give myself in the corporate aspect of my life, you know, right, while also giving myself like my all, you know, in everything else that serves me, right? And at some point, those things are gonna mesh, and not in a good way. Like, you know, it's like oil and water, right? Those things don't go together, right? You know, and at some point, you know, you got to choose one or the other, right? You know, like, do you want the oil or do you want the water, right? You know, and so I feel like, yeah, that's just where I'm at in my particular point of my life. Some people are able to figure it out. I think if you look at most people who have accomplished something great, they went all in on that thing, right? You know, I don't know many people. I don't know many people's stories who had a 9-to-5 up until like the point where they cracked, right? You know, like I think a lot of them left whatever it was that they were doing and just went all in on that thing, right? You know, and sometimes it just means going for broke, right? And at some points they were broke as fuck, you know, right? But you know, I think I sent y'all that video on social media the other day. It's just like you know, if you're not willing to like go go all in and put 5 years worth, if not more, of just like not making a single dollar and just going for broke, you don't really want it that bad. And I really watched that video and I reflected on it. And I was like, man, how bad do I really want this shit?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question.
How bad do I really want this? Right? You know, like, is it do I want it bad enough to like tolerate the life that I'm currently living for the rest of my life? And the answer is fuck no. The answer is hell no. I want it so bad that I'm like willing to give up whatever it is for this like this version of what life looks like in order to accomplish that great aspect, right? You know, now whether it happens or not, I don't know. Like, you know, like, and that's the scary piece, right? You know, it's just it's all the uncertainty. But I know that at the end of the day, it's worth it, right? You know, I'm willing to just figure it out because I know that whatever this like stability that like I'm trying to cling on to, I don't feel stable, you know, right? Like in my life, it's just like, yeah, I can pay my bills and do all that, and like, yeah, I have enough money to invest and do those things, but like mentally, I'm just like, I don't feel stable at all. I'll be like about to lose my damn mind at work every fucking day. Like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm about 2 seconds. I'm about one email away from being like, fuck all of this shit.
You know, it's so crazy, just to speak on what you're speaking to. Like, to be honest, when you're at work, the work seems so real, right? Like, that's like, this is the weird part about, like, you know, like having a job. Like, when you're there, emails are time sensitive, the calls are time sensitive, the, you know what I mean? Everything that you're doing is like, it seems so real. Then you clock out and you realize, like, it's not even real life. Like, it's just it's just why you're right. And like, all that shit seems so big because you're there, and you're like, while you're there, then you clock out, and then you said, Z, having a weekend like you had this weekend, and you DJing events, and there's 50 people around you singing the words, you know what I'm saying, in front of you like that, and you realize that's a completely different reality than 5 hours before.
Yeah.
Right.
And none of those emails matter at this point. None of those calls matter at this point, and you just realize they're two separate things.
Yeah.
And it's like, you said something this morning. I want you to run it back, man, just so we have it on camera. It was something about like speaking, to, you know, a job, speaking to the version of yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
How'd you put it?
So I don't know. I feel like I'm at this point in my life where I don't like the version of myself that work produces, right? You know, like when I'm at work, I just feel like I just know that it's a version of myself that it's not true to who I really am. And granted, we always in different settings, you're always gonna have to put on a front, right? You know, like it's just a part of life, you know, right? Whether it was in school, you know, now at work, you know, at church, wherever you go, you always got to put on a little bit of a front, right? But when you experience those moments like this weekend or series of moments where it's just like you feel like you're your truest version of yourself, you know, in those moments, like, I'm doing what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. And I know because it's directly reflecting by the 50 people who are belting their lungs out the words that, you know, I'm playing, and just this like crazy ass synergy and whatnot. It's just like those are the moments where it's just like, granted, I get it that we don't want to get up and chasing these highs, right? You know, like at the end of the day, you don't want to just like chase these highs all the time. But it's like when you know that's ultimately what aligns with you, and there may be moments, right, when it comes to DJing, music, whatever the case may be, where it does feel like work. It happens, right? It's natural, right? But I always feel like I'm so much more and a more authentic version of myself whenever I'm connected to something that is aligned with my purpose, whether it's Remote Escapes, whether it's DJ Zenus, you know, whether it's, you know, the Spot Network, regardless of, like, this is all something like that ultimately fulfills me. And I know that at the end of the day, work does not fulfill me, man. I feel like I clock in every day and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, you know, right?
Yeah.
What's your take on it, DG?
Now, Z made a really good point earlier when he was just talking about just, you know, the comparison with the corporate grind. And one thing he said was the comfort that it provides. I think 9 to 5 provides so much comfort and stability. Even for us, we believe that we can do more, but I feel like part of us still attached to that comfort. You know, the PTO days, like the sick days, the health insurance, all those extra shit. And it makes it a little bit harder for you to like just let go of that comfort, you know. But like, as I've been thinking lately, like I was saying, man, 2026 is gonna be a pivotal year. So a lot of changes and things I want to accomplish. As I've been thinking about it, man, like what Z was saying, sometimes, bro, like in order to have great, you have to leave good, and it's hard to walk away from good. If you know, if something was completely shady, it's easy to walk away from it. But I think corporate in the sense that it's fun, it's engaging, it's okay. It's not as bad, you know, it gets the job done. So it's hard to walk away from that. But I believe, man, like just thinking about where I want to be and where we want to be, I think sometimes in order for you to like get moved from like good to great, you gotta like get away from good. And good is good, but you want great. And I think this overall, especially with corporate job for us, man, it just takes a life and so away from us. And we still found ways to get things done, all the things we like and care about. But it's so hard at the end of the day. If you work, like you were saying, like you work a long day, 8 hours, you drain. It takes so much more effort and energy to work on that passion, you know. And I feel like corporates sometimes are just like they're paying us to like forget about our goals. In a sense that you just get so comfortable, and then you just stay there before you realize, damn, I'm 50 years old, and then what's time? So I don't know, man. That's kind of like for me. I feel like that's one of the reasons. Going back to your question, I think you asked, "Oh, do you think corporate is one of the reasons I would feel like we feel that way that we're feeling right now in regards to the score?" I would say yes, bro. It's hard to like go all in and focus when you have another burden that's demanding and taking a lot of time away from you and your creativity, you know. So it's kind of hard, bro. So like going to 2026, room for improvement, to me, that's something that I've been like considering and thinking about, like how can I put myself in that position that, you know, I can like get away and just focus on what I'm doing right now. And that's why I'm like trying to get all these licenses as soon as possible. And I believe that's going to give me more clarity, because now it's easier to like start putting one and two together because I have something tangible. So I don't know. That's kind of like my take on that. I think just like corporate having a 9 to 5, bro, it's hard in the sense that because it requires so much extra time for you to like work on your goals and things that you really care about. So yeah, man. So, and just going back to that question about the score that we give ourselves, I think the average person right now, if we do, question for you guys, we said we are about maybe 48 to like 60% overall. What score you think the average person is right now? If we give ourselves that score. What score you think the average person is right now?
Look, before I give an answer, right? No, but just to be honestly, before I give an answer, I can only score off of what I think I'm capable of, right? So when we give ourselves these scores, you know what I mean? They're for what we think we're capable of in our life, right? Or if what we just want, right? Like the things that we just want in life. So if I give an average person a score to what I want, it's gonna be different maybe from what they even want.
That's
so
true.
Like I just don't want the score to come off like all these niggas ain't doing shit, you know. You know what I mean? I don't want a score to come off like that, because that's not true. And then they might be doing their best, and if they had their best year, and to me, it wouldn't have been a best year for in my mind. That doesn't mean they didn't have a great year for them.
Right.
So I just want to like get the caveat to that first.
That's good.
I honestly think all three of us are probably like, in most senses of the word, if you think of black men, you know, there's everything from college educated to, you know, things that we own and assets to, you know, the friendships and things that we have on we're above average in most of these categories. So like if I think I did 58, then if I think that we're above average, then I have to go down for the average, right? You know what I mean? So like honestly, I would say, to be honest, like 25, like 25% is like an average. And what that is, I think some people, so imagine us that like really look our purpose and ourselves in and focus on growth and all these things in our life, and actually put time and energy and say, I can't do that because I'm working on this, and we still rate ourselves a 58. So imagine a person who hasn't even looked their purpose in the mirror yet.
Right. That's true.
You can't even be doing nothing towards it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it has to be a lower score like that. So and like I said, I wanted to make sure that I said that on here, is that like that's a score for me, given what if I was doing, you know, something, just nothing that was in line with any type of purpose that I had, what I would rate myself, honestly. You know what I mean? So I would say 25 is my answer to that, man.
That's a good take.
Yeah.
What about you, Z?
Look, Ramon gave the politically correct answer. I'm telling y'all some bitches, man. You know, so I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Now I would say something similar, honestly. Just at the end of the day, I think if that's something we truly can't take for granted at all, and it's something that I've reflected on a lot recently too. You know, I think recognizing, even so we had a conversation with some friends over the weekend. We were at this hookah lounge, and we had honestly was pretty much like a very common conversation for ourselves, right? But I could tell, like, obviously, like a lot of the people who were a part of that conversation don't typically have these types of conversations, right? You know, and so it really puts things into perspective of just A, the people that you're surrounded by, right? You know, but also B, who you are yourself, right? And the thing is, it's just most people don't know what it is that they want, right? You know, like a lot of people are still searching for their purpose, whatever it is that truly moves them. And that's something that I can't take for granted. None of us can take for granted, because we know what it is. We know what our purpose is. We know what drives us. We know what compels us to wake up each and every day. We go about it every night, sleeping, dreaming about it, you know, right? That spark that gives us life just at the end of the day, not everybody has that, you know, right? Honestly, a lot of people are still searching for that. So, you know, can't take that for granted. But that being said, if the average person probably is still seeking that, and we're going based off of like potential,
right?
They're not even, they don't even know what their potential is yet, right? You know, so it's, how could they, just like you said, Ramon, how could they be working towards their potential if they don't even know what it is yet, right? So I would say the average person, you know, is probably around like 20 to 25, in that range of I guess if we're scoring. But this isn't to necessarily take a shot at anybody, and I don't want anybody thinking that like we're trying to downplay anybody's situation or whatnot. But like I said, I mean, we're just very critical for ourselves, right? And knowing what we're capable of, knowing what our potential is, we're only going to be more harsh on ourselves, right? You know, and I would hope that you would do the same thing for yourself if you know what your potential is, right? You know, like if you know what it is that truly aligns you with your most authentic self in life, I hope you would be doing the same. Otherwise, like I said in a previous episode, otherwise you're betraying yourself, right? You know, like if you know what your potential is, if you know what compels you, if you know what moves you, and you're doing anything and everything but that, you are truly betraying yourself, right? And maybe you feel or don't feel that on the day-to-day, but I honestly feel like every day that I'm at work, I'm betraying my true self. I'm like, damn, what are you doing? Like, you know, this is not you. Like, I feel like every day I wake up, like, or not that I wake up, but every day that I'm at work, I feel like I hear a version, like, you know, that person who's just yelling in your ear, just like, I feel like I hear a version of myself just yelling at me, like, fam, get your shit together. Like, what are you doing? Right. You know, yeah. I don't know. I just think the average person is probably lower than where we are.
Look at you guys being politically correct. See, too, following Ramon.
Oh man, yeah, what you gonna do? I'm gonna clip this one up too, man. Whatever you about to say, I'm gonna clip this motherfucker up too, man. So
no, but it's true though. It's true. Like I like the way you broke it down, Ramon. Like, you know, we are giving this percentage based on like how we feel in regards to our personal life. So it's not to like downplay anyone goals or success. No, I'll probably say my answer is pretty close to that too, about 18 to like 20%. Because just knowing how much work we put in, right, 18 to 20%. Just knowing like who we are, like how much work we put in, and we still like we think we're like 48. Right. I know damn well most people are like 30. You know, most people ain't doing shit, and we, like I said, we did a lot this year. You know, like I accomplished one of my biggest goals, buy like my dream house, you know, like investment goals. I reached out a lot of things in my personal life that I was able to accomplish. And part of me felt like I didn't do a lot, you know what I'm saying? So this is not to like just throw shade at people, just encourage and just motivate us to do more if you're watching this, because at the end of the day, we have more potential in us than we're capable of, that we know, you know, things that we can do. And I think sometimes that we don't realize, like Z said earlier, we don't realize our true potentials and our talents because we haven't like found time to like discover them, you know. But we all have like greatness within each and every one of us, man. And just going to 2026, now this episode is like, what are some things that you got things that think that you're going to be better at in 2026 that we can like make sure that when we reflect back in 2026, that we give ourselves a higher score? Because to be honest, bro, I pray that we come back. I want to have this conversation, and I want my score to be higher than 58 next year.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
like, so what are some things you guys think that we can do personally, right? I know Z mentioned one scenario just thinking about corporate work in a sense, like, you know, like how can I like focus on my purpose instead of like my time is now spent here instead of like me using that time and resource to work on something more meaningful. Like, what do you guys think that some things that we can do different in 2026 to attain better results than what we currently have right now?
That's a great question, brother.
Okay.
There's something I was thinking about as you guys was both talking, and it was like a quote that I seen recently that said, "You don't usually lose yourself all at once." So it made me think about just slowly losing yourself to like whatever that, you know, whether the job is or the other pieces of life, and just slowly losing yourself, right? Like slowly. And I just think about the truth of it is the time spent doing the things that you don't want to do or in the corporate gig. What you don't realize is what that time, like what the compound of what that time could be, just the compound of it, right? Like if you're at work, you're usually meeting people at work.
Right.
You was meeting people outside of work and the things that you wanted to do. Right. And when you're in work, you're hitting your goals and your Q1 goals and you're doing your huddles at work. But what if you was hitting your Q1 goals for yourself? Like, and it's like, I started thinking about like, okay, if I'm meeting 50 people a quarter, you know, and inside of work, what if the 50 people, you know, a quarter or even a month I was meeting outside of work had things to do with what I was moving towards? Naturally, the compound of that over the course of a year is unseen. You know what I mean? So, like, just to be honest, that would probably be my answer. Is really that is like just over this next year. You know, one of hopefully we can pin this and come back next year, because around this time of year, I want to be out of the gig too. I think Z's probably gonna beat me, but my goal is November 2026 is to just escape that and move from there. So a big piece for me is like moving to get myself set up to be like still semi-comfortable. It's gonna be uncomfortable to jump, but just be semi-comfortable there and just make sure that the things that I really want to focus on, that I'm putting more energy and pouring more into those, into the other thing. And I'm just gonna be honest. I hope my job don't see this, because they're not gonna get the best version of me this next year. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, I hope the CEO don't find the podcast, because I'm gonna tell you straight up, you're not gonna get the best version of me.
I'm gonna say it to your face.
Straight up. But over this next year, I want to pour more into those things. And another thing me and Z wanted to do, just like as a practical piece, is just get back to having these weekly focus meetings. Every week at my job, we have like a weekly huddle. It's just at my job, we have a weekly corporate huddle. They talk about where they're going, what we've been doing, what the last week looked like, this, you know, certain goals, what we're hitting. I need to get back to doing that for what we're doing.
Let's do that, bro. I want to be part of that too. I need that. Absolutely. Yeah.
There was so much that got accomplished from those meetings, right?
For sure. You know? And that's probably why I think 2024, I thought was more, you know what I mean? Like in line with the things, you know what I mean? And 2025 was kind of just like reaping some of those, like finishing them. You know what I mean? All right, now let's close on the house. Let's do the trip to, you know what I mean? But 2024 was like the setup of all that shit. You know what I mean? So
let's start that meeting, bro. Let's do it. Let's figure out time next week. You know, and let's talk about it, and then let's get that started.
All the way.
It's like you shouldn't wait to New Year's. Let's get it started before that.
I think just piggybacking off of that, the consistency piece, right? You know, it's consistently checking in with each other, with yourself, and continuing to like have that extra level of accountability goes a long way. You know, there was so much that was accomplished from those weekly meetings. So I think just getting back to that consistency piece. I definitely want to get back to consistently posting on social media, just because I just recognize the power of what social media is. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of social media, but I do recognize how powerful of a tool it is, right? You know, and there's no way you can get to that level of greatness. I don't know a single person like I guess it depends on the type of business that you're trying to do, right? You know, but especially as like a DJ or someone who's in the entertainment industry, I don't know anyone who's built like an extremely successful career without utilizing social media in today's age. I don't, because social media is essentially like your resume, you know, like
it is media
nowadays.
too.
Yeah.
You know, people be forgetting sometimes it's media. It's nowadays media.
Yeah.
In the day you might have had commercials and signs and billboards, but
yeah,
this is where we're at, you know?
Yeah. Like every reel is a commercial, you know, right?
Exactly.
Like for yourself, like, you know, every post, you know, and so I like definitely that's the biggest piece of like I just recognize the power of it. I know when I was posting more consistently, there was just naturally a lot more that was happening, right? You know, and now granted, I think it is dope kind of to your point, Ramon, of what you were saying is that reaping the benefits of that, like because I'd have built a couple of relationships and like, you know, like was able to leverage those things, I ultimately did have received a lot of opportunities, you know, right? But I just imagine like if I was like consistently going hard on social media and putting out all the content and putting all my shit on Bandcamp, like even if it's just like a purchase here and there, everything is like just at the end of the day funneling back into like your purpose and like ultimately serving you more than anything else, right? It's not serving, you know, my job, it's not serving this, it's serving me directly, you know, right? And so I think getting back into that consistency piece and also just like another big thing really is just simplifying the way of finding support, right? You know, giving people easy access, right? You know, a big thing that we were talking about over the weekend was having like some type of business card or like a poster or something like that, so that when I'm DJing, people like, because every time I've spun, there's always people who have been like, yo, like, what's your socials? Want to follow you? Those types of things. Anybody who knows Ray, shout out to Ray Wimley. Whenever he performs, he has this big ass board that has like all his social media handles on it, like his Cash App, all that stuff. So like if you directly want to support him, you can do so without even having to talk to him. And that's the big thing we were talking about is passive engagement, right? You know, passive engagement is everything, just like passive income is everything, right? People being able to support you without you having to actively go out and seek their support is a huge thing, right? You know, and so that's a big thing that I want to focus on in 2026 is passive engagement, right? A lot of that comes from like running ads and stuff like that, and just ultimately just like posting, right? You know, I think that's a big thing, right? You know, especially on TikTok. You know, shout out to Ramon because Ramon's been, you know, obviously consistent on TikTok. He's been going crazy, you know, on TikTok, right? You know, so like, you know, shout out to my man's man. Like he's really been, you know, like putting in the effort, and you see it happening, right? You know, but I say all that to say, like, I think the biggest piece more than anything else in 2026 is ultimately like alignment. And what I mean by that is not just alignment with myself. You know, obviously I want to be the sexiest version of myself. Like I know, like I chased the fitness grind back in the day. I want to be better than that, right? You know, like I want to like be in alignment with myself there. I want to be in alignment with myself, with each other too, you know, right? I think something that Ray and I were talking about the other day is like we need to figure out ways that like I think we can also like collaborate and just support each other a lot more. And sometimes that might just be having our weekly meetings, right? You know, like just like how do I support you on this or like that and whatever. Because the most success, I'll always say this, comes from a collaborative effort. Like right, a collaborative effort always yields the best results, right? You know, like it's the reason why teamwork makes the dream work, right? You know, like as a sole person you can accomplish a lot, but as a unit there's so much more that can be done. So I think just figuring out ways to like directly support each other and push each other to those additional levels, I think is going to be what truly like elevates us to that great level.
I agree. So no, I mean you said it right, Z. I think just collaborative effort is important, man. Because I remember even like back then, you know, when I was growing my fitness page, when we had like a group that we always like share each other content. And by doing that, that's when I got the most following, you know, the most engagement, because my friends who were in the group were sharing each other content. It didn't really take that much of an effort to do that. Right. And I think this is important, man. Just having like a group, you know, who we all want the same thing. We're going to work together collectively to achieve that goal. It makes it a lot easier than just only you know, just doing that. You know, that's why most people say like, oh, entrepreneurship is like lonely, right? Because most often they don't have the right people around them too. But I believe you have the right group. The team is not, you know, it don't feel lonely no more. Because even like when the business with my brothers, it doesn't feel lonely because I feel like we have a good team that we work together and we all trying to like get to that next level. so it's fun that way. So I just wanted to like just add that too, man. We need to get back to just that support and just like constantly just point into each other, letting us know, like, hey, bro, you got this. You know, because sometimes I think we forget sometimes, you know, when life hit us hard, we forget, you know, the things that we're good at. But it's good to have that person to reinforce us, bro. Like, say, Z, bro, you're killing that DJ stuff. Like, keep doing more of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ramon, you killing that, bro. Your mix is dope. You know, even when I was like, I told Ramon about his mix when I was playing, like, that shit is fire, bro. Like, more of that. You know, he was just like giving me some game as well. Bro, this is what you got to do. So I think we need that. We need that support and to just help each other succeed, bro. And I think that's one thing for sure we need to be better at in going to 2026.
I want to throw one more thing in here, man, because these is all like gems. We definitely gonna have to chop this up for people because I know as I'm listening to y'all, like, yes. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But just one last thing I want to throw on there, to be honest, is just this year, I've never been good about what I'm about to say, man. And DG, I've seen you guys are both better at it than me. We're just reaching out in the follow-up. That's what you know, that you guys are both good at that. But and on top of that, asking for what I actually want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you could be just like, whether that's a number amount, whether that's an opportunity, whether that's just a, you know what I mean? So like really it might be first, even before that, having the meeting that we're having and figuring out this is what I want first. This is exactly what I want from what we're doing. This is what it needs to look like. And then just really asking. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just goes that far, man. It's that simple, man. And that's one thing I just never really been good at asking for things. It's just like, you know, when you like hyper independent, you just used to being like, I'm gonna figure this shit out. That's not always the best move though.
Right.
If I'm like, if it takes me 6 months to figure something out and I could have asked somebody to be like, yo, you know what I mean? And they could have just done it, that saved me 6 months of time.
Right.
It's always, you know, I just growing up, I just never wanted to be a burden sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't ask for certain things, but I do want to just, you know, be more comfortable with like, I know I have value on my side that I'm never going to just ask and not want to like pour in back into it.
Right.
So now I do know that I do have that value, being okay with asking because I know I'm gonna be able to reciprocate on the other side, you know.
And that's a good point, Ramon, because Renee and I was having this conversation yesterday. You know, I was like, man, shout out to Marco, you know, that he took time away to come and help me with my project. And we were talking about like the fact that he did that for me. I know for sure I'm going to be willing to go above and beyond helping my situation. Because we have a lot to give. And then like tomorrow, him and I have a consultation, just talk about his fitness goals for 2026. And what he wish I can help him to get better.
Yeah.
So going back to what you're saying, bro, sometimes like for us, we have a lot to give other people. So when we ask for help, it's not going to be one-sided. Because we're going to help you in so many other ways that when I'm asking you for this help, just know that you're going to get a lot in other ways. You know, so
absolutely.
It's good because now I think we're in a position to give a lot back to other people too. So like just going back to what you're saying, bro, like ask more because you have a lot more to give. That's what.
100%.
I know we're getting close to that time.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah. Is there any other things you guys have to like add to the pod?
Yeah, I got a question for y'all.
Yeah, let me hear it.
It's that time, baby. This is Spot Network. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put y'all on the spot. That being said, we're gonna ask you this or that question. Today's question is: would you rather lose the year you just had or repeat it exactly as it was next year?
Damn.
So if we lose it, do we replace it with something else?
No, you just lose everything. So like the remote escapes trip, all that stuff, like you just lose everything that you did this year, or you just repeat exactly as it was next year.
Do you at least get a year of life back? Like, how we doing this, man? That seemed too easy. Like,
but you don't get another year. Like you lose a year.
Everything that you gain
and everything that you gain. Yeah.
I don't see the benefit in that part though.
Yeah, like why though? Like why would lose that?
I think there's no benefit to that side. There was benefit to the year that I had.
Yeah.
Even if it was a 60, you know what I'm saying, or 58% or something like that. But losing it with no extra year or nothing, like that. Hey, if that's the question, this is the easiest would you rather of all time, brother. Keep the same year I had.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean that yeah, because at the end of the day, if I'm losing it down, might as well just like next year I just rather accomplish the same thing that I accomplished this year because it wasn't as terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I feel it has to be either you
got to add more to the lose side.
Yeah.
Like I think that.
All right, so like you lose fresh. You start fresh, right? You know, so like you essentially like get a redo, right? Like you lose everything that you accomplished this year,
okay.
but like you get a redo, like you know what you accomplished, and now it's just like you get the opportunity to potentially do more.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Right.
Or do less. You already know what you accomplished this year, or just
Right.
repeat the year exactly as it was.
Right. Okay. That's better.
And that's more of an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'll still go first to just make, because I'm gonna make mine just fast. There's this concept that I live by in life where I don't like going back to old jobs, old relationships, old anything. So I don't want to redo the year. I already did it. I know that I could have done more. So I'm gonna sit with that I could do more and then move forward with that. If I restart it, then it's like you get a redo, and how many redos you really get. So I'm gonna still go the same year I had personally.
No, I was gonna go the latter, but you changed my perspective. I like that. No, you enlightened me. No, I ain't gonna lie. You enlightened me, bro. Like when you said it, it was dope. The way you articulated that was dope. I was gonna pick the latter. I was like, damn, not knowing I know I can accomplish a lot, but that's an interesting point that you brought up, though. I already did it. You know what I'm saying? I might as well. I don't need to go back to that previous life. Yeah. I can create something else based with the knowledge and skill set that I have. Yeah. So yeah, I'm over Ramon on this one too. You got me, because I was gonna go bro. Like that was like wisdom. The way you like explain everything, that was dope.
Yeah, right. I like the way that you put that too, because I'm typically on the other side of like, I think everything happens for a reason. So like, I think the year the way that it happened needed to happen.
Yeah.
But however, very rarely do you ever get the chance to do a redo. And so like if I technically live the year, but I also get a redo and get to go back and like just redo the shit and I'll potentially do it better just knowing what I know now.
Right.
That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I gotta take that.
And also just knowing to next year, the following year is not guaranteed, right? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff happened, the work was shut down. And there's a possibility that I might not even get the chance to even do that, you know. So I'm like, I'm gonna go with that. No, that's my answer. Yeah, but that was dope. But yeah, man, I just want to say big shout out to everyone who joined us live today. If this is your first time here on the channel, please like the video, subscribe to the video, share whatever it is you can do to support us. In a comment, if you have any other perspective, things that you're gonna do different in 2026 to make your life better, or some feedback you can give us that we can actually use to improve our life. We'll love to hear in the comment.
Yep. And the last thing I'm gonna say is fuck that job.
Big facts, man. Big facts.
But now we appreciate everybody, man. Again, that's DG Diamond Grant. That's Ramon. I'm DJ Zenus, man. We appreciate everybody. Again, follow us at the Spot Network Official on all social media platforms. Check us out every Monday, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, sir.
That'd be great, man.
All right, so.
Peace.